and subsequently Ginny's terrible to work with. So it was like it was very easy for me to channel
All
all
the
of that,
hatred.
you know.
Thank you both for taking the time. I got to watch the movie last night. It's so much fun.
What up, Owen? Dude, happy you watched it.
Yeah, it's great. The first thing I wanted to ask you was you both, I found out you both already knew each other before you came into this movie. How much easier did that make the whole process?
Ginny's the best. I'm not going to speak for you, Ginny, but you're the best. Uh, we have a very similar sense of humor. We met in NYU when I was at NYU in New York. And the first time I met her, she was upside down doing a keg stand. So I was like, this girl rocks. So that was it was a fun interaction to meet again, but she did tear into my fashion choices at that point in time.
Yeah, Dylan was wearing like, I don't know, it was like a moss costume. You were like a moss ball or something. It was the ugliest.
It was Halloween. I was dressed as a wood elf, okay, which is a subspecies of elf that lives inside of the forest exclusively.
Apparently people are supposed to know. I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about.
I'm happy to hear it was Halloween, given the
I think it wasn't just a normal night.
It's Tuesday. Virginia, you've done thriller work and stuff with Fall, and you've done comic book world stuff with Runaways. What made you want to step into this genre?
I had never done comedy before, and I'd also never done like a romance really of any sort. So it was two new things for me, which I was really excited about. And also the only thing I knew about the project at the time was Roger Kumble was directing, and I was a fan of Roger's work and obviously of Cruel Intentions and Just Friends. And he's been a part of so many iconic projects that I was really excited to work with him. And I like being challenged, and I like doing characters that I feel like I haven't personally done before. So it was fun to do something in this world.
Dylan, I saw you did boxing training and like bodybuilding training for this. Obviously you're doing a lot of physical stuff. Like, what was the hardest aspect of getting kind of physically ready for the role?
Dude, believe it or not, neither of those. It's actually the food you have to eat to gain that much muscle. It's like a disgusting amount of food. Like you really have to force yourself to eat a lot. So I had, a stack of like 5 to 6 fish fillets mixed with a bowl this big of broccoli and in a bowl this big of brown rice, and all the while you don't use any salt or pepper or any seasoning at all. So it's like the kind of food that Wisconsin people are used to. But I was not into it myself.
Is there anything you never want to eat again after that?
Sea bass. Sea bass I can't even look at sea bass anymore and feel an appetite at all. It makes me sick to look at. So never eat sea bass without a little bit of lemon is my advice.
You got no seasoning.
No seasoning, dude, not even lemon. That's the thing. You could not you had to count every calorie so specifically. So that was the worst part of the training regimen.
That's crazy. And for both of you, I feel like playing people that are acting like they hate each other is probably really enjoyable. Like, were those the most fun scenes for you both to shoot?
They were fun. I mean, I always say Dylan's like the older brother I never asked for. So you definitely have a bit of that relationship in real life. So, and we give each other a lot of shit in real life. So it's fun to be able to transfer that into a scene.
Yeah, I mean, and subsequently, Ginny's terrible to work with. So it was like it was very easy for me to channel all of that,
And Virginia, you said you hadn't really done comedy, but like you're really funny in this. But your character also has some like darker stuff going on. Was it hard to balance all of that as you were doing the role?
Yeah, it was a lot to balance, and I wanted to make sure I gave her the respect that I would want someone to give me if they were going to play me in something, right? So I wanted to, even though there are so many comedic elements, I wanted to still treat it as a real character piece and still treat her with a lot of respect and do what I would do on any film before beginning a character, which is like journaling and making a character playlist and really diving into her backstory and making sure that as fun as the comedy moments are, that when those dramatic moments hit, I took them with full seriousness and was able to really have like a full backstory of hers to draw from.
Dylan, your guys kind of, I guess, a little rough around the edges, like, which can contribute to the charm at some point. But like, was there ever a challenge to making sure he is kind of likable and like not too much?
Well, I think that was the major challenge, right? And this was translating from a book that was written quite a while ago. And I think the social sentiment behind a character like that has changed quite drastically in the modern day. And so we were walking a fine line between trying to make him lovable and independent, but not neuter him at the same time and make him still like a kind of particular guy. So we played a lot with that. Roger, Jenny, myself, all of the cast and crew played a lot with that to contribute. And I think we ended up finding a good place for it. So I'm happy with what we ended up making, but it took a village.
I'm not sure how this movie shot, but I know a lot of films don't shoot like front to back because your characters go through so much in their relationship. Was the shooting schedule, was it hard to like track the story in some ways as you were shooting this?
I don't want to speak for Dylan, but for me, most things are shot so out of sequence. I think as an actor, you just kind of become accustomed to like jumping throughout wherever you are in the story. And when you have a good director and you have a good script supervisor too, it always helps when they're like, remember the last time we saw you was coming from here and your mood was this or whatever. So it always helps when you have other people around you that are helping you keep track of the scene you've just come from.
We already know there's a sequel happening. I'm not sure how far into it you are, but how has that experience been compared to this one? Just jumping right into the next thing.
Yeah, we can't say much because we're not allowed to, but it's a major vote of confidence to shoot the sequel before the original even released. I mean, that's so special of a thing, and I don't really think that happens very often. I can't even really name an instance in which that did happen. So I think that's really kind of cool and relieving as actors because it gives you an opportunity to jump into a character that you still feel freshly, which, you know, if you take too much time away from a character, things are likely or liable to change a little bit. And so it was really fun. We're also, I know everybody says this, but we're also blessed with a very good cast and crew that we actually hang out with and we actually enjoy each other's time. We do. We still hang out in LA and New York when we're around. So like that was a blessing to see all of them again.
There are a lot of fights in this film. If you are pitting all of the rom-coms and, you know, comedy romance films together in a tournament, which one wins? What's your favorite?
My favorite is When Harry Met Sally. I'm such a sucker for that movie. I think it's so good. And I also think it asks the question, can men and women be friends without sex kind of getting in the way? And I think our movie is sort of asking that question in a 2023 way. So I think there's sort of a fun nostalgic nod to that film and ours, which I really appreciate.
I'm a big anime guy, and I think that Kaguya-sama Love is War, like that's an anime that's a rom-com, and I think it is maybe one of the best rom-com series ever made. So I think that is a very, very strong contender in the battle royale.
That's all I've got for you. Thank you both so much. And congrats on this again. It's so much fun.
Thank you.